Chinese criminal gangs have stolen over $1 billion through sophisticated tech scams targeting US residents. They've targeted me. They targeted my girlfriend. And since a huge share of Americans get scam texts every single week, there's a good chance they targeted you too. And if you fall for their trick, you could lose everything. Homeland Security investigators say criminal networks based in China spent the last 3 years blasting Americans with fake texts that look like unpaid tolls, postal fees, missed deliveries, or government notices. Their goal is simple: get you to tap a link, enter a card number, or verify a one-time code. Once you do, they load your stolen card into a digital wallet overseas and start spending instantly, often on high-value items or gift cards that can be resold and shipped back to China. According to the government, that pipeline alone has pulled in more than $1 billion. These groups use SIM farms, which are rooms full of network boxes holding hundreds of US SIM cards, and they use them to send huge batches of texts from local-looking numbers. DHS and other agencies have identified hundreds of these SIM boxes across dozens of US metro areas. The tech lets them rotate numbers, evade blocks, and blend in with legitimate traffic. When people click, many are sent to websites spun up from kits sold on Telegram, so the scam pages are fast to launch and fast to replace if one gets taken down. And this is affecting all of us. Pew found most Americans encounter scam calls, texts, or emails at least weekly. Another large survey this summer showed more than 80% of adults receive scam texts weekly. And a sizable share get them multiple times a week. This isn't a little problem affecting a few people here and there in the States. It's a daily issue. A daily issue of having a phone in America. But with this issue, if you slip up just once, you could lose everything. Or if not everything, a substantial amount of what you do have. I'm pretty good at avoiding these scams because honestly, I don't even open texts or answer calls from numbers I don't have saved. But I was trying to grab my phone out of my pocket while I was at the gym just a few months ago. And when I pulled it out, I realized I had accidentally clicked a link in a text from some random number. I panicked. Hand up, yeah, I panicked. I didn't enter any information on the website it brought me to, but I didn't know what these nasty little hackers were up to. I didn't know if they were capable of unleashing a virus on my phone, scraping data, or what, just from me clicking a link. But I was worried. I came home and asked my girlfriend if she had been receiving any similar texts. She had the exact same text on her phone claiming that she owed the exact same amount of money for some unpaid toll and that she would be fined late fees if she didn't pay it within 48 hours. She actually almost clicked the link to make a payment because she didn't want to suffer any late fees. Thankfully, she realized that that was obviously a bad idea before actually attempting to do it. But you can imagine how many people fall victim to these time-sensitive pressures. I can't imagine how often elderly people fall victim to this. Now, let me lay out the mechanics, because understanding the steps shows exactly where law enforcement and carriers need to be cutting it off. Step 1. A US number hits your phone with a short, urgent text. Something like final notice, unpaid toll of $317, or delivery fee due. Step 2. The link opens a page that looks like a state agency or USPS, but the domain is slightly off. I mean, Honestly, it's pretty damn convincing. Step 3, you enter a card and maybe a one-time passcode. Step 4, the gang drops that card into a wallet outside the US, which bypasses some fraud checks and multi-factor prompts. Step 5, low-level US runners, often, gig workers, use remote tap-to-pay setups to buy goods. Then those goods move into overseas resale channels. That's how a $3 fake fee turns into a $1,000 phone bought on your dime within minutes. Now, the part I want to say clearly, because it's frustrating and fixable, we keep placing all of the blame on individual victims. Don't click links. Be smarter. And while educating U.S. citizens of these potential scams is important, the people with the power to stop this have moved far too slowly. Federal agencies and carriers know what SIM farms are, where they tend to operate, and how they behave on the network. Secret Service and partners have started dismantling some of these farms around New York, which, shows you it is doable at scale. But the national response is still fragmented, and the criminals are treating that gap like a green light. There are 3 fronts that need to tighten up fast, and I mean immediately. First, enforcement against the infrastructure inside our borders. SIM farms leave patterns. Carriers and federal partners should be running joint task forces that move from identifying a pattern to physical seizure quickly. Identifying clusters, get warrants, pull gear, and arrest the local facilitators. That seems easy enough, right? DHS says they've mapped hundreds of boxes across 38 areas. The follow-through should match that scope. And it should be continuous, not like a one-time, one-off sweep. If our federal government is funding the National Guard, or whoever else, to go into cities all across the country, we better be able to fund an initiative to stop Chinese criminals from robbing American citizens in their own homes. Right? Second, international cooperation and pressure. I'm serious about this one. These networks touch China and also, satellite hubs in Southeast Asia, blah, blah, blah. Congress's own China Commission warned this summer that Chinese-linked syndicates are integrating scams with broader money laundering and trafficking operations. I don't know why more people are not talking about this. That means Treasury, State, and DOJ should be pairing criminal cases with sanctions and coordinated takedowns, freezing accounts, blocking merchant IDs, and working with allies to refuse hosting and payment services to known scam nodes. If Beijing wants to claim it's cracking down, fine, cool, great. I hope you are. But test that by handing over specific targets, logs, and names. Keep a public scoreboard so that the pressure that we apply on these countries doesn't fade. We shouldn't require their help to fix this issue, but their help would sure as hell help. And maybe they're even intentionally turning a blind eye to this stuff because it's not affecting them. Oh, it's hurting America. Do you think they care? No, we have to apply pressure to make them care. Third, the telecom and payment rails, right? I'm going to try to explain this in a simple way, but this is kind of confusing. Carriers should be scoring and throttling high-velocity text patterns from SIM clusters in real time. not after the fact. The same goes for domain and wallet telemetry, right? When a new domain sends hundreds of identical toll-fee pages in an hour, or when the same card jumps into multiple overseas wallets instantly, there should be automated blocks and alerts to banks. DHS laid out how these gangs add U.S. cards to overseas wallets to be common checks. According to the sources that I was just reading, that's exactly where issuers and wallet providers can and should close the door with stricter, and I don't know exactly what these terms mean, but this is where they should close the door with stricter geofencing, device binding, and velocity rules. Now, you don't need to know exactly what those words mean. The point is, they can do something about it. They haven't done something about it, and they need to do something about it. I also want to touch something that doesn't get said out loud enough. And this is so important. How often do you accidentally ignore real government-issued bills or notices? I'm a business owner. I get hundreds of emails or letters in the mail every single year telling me I owe this, I owe that. My business will be penalized if I don't pay this number by that date. And the vast majority of them are fake. But in all honesty, I have no idea which ones actually require my attention and which ones are just going to send my information to a creep in a basement who will use my information to fund his OF obsession. One reason these government texts work is because dealing with real government sites is an absolute mess. People are juggling IRS notices, toll portals, DMV renewals, unemployment systems, state health systems, each with different domains, logins, and layouts. When every single agency has its own look-alike website and no standard messaging, people rightfully get anxious and click these links to avoid trouble. If Washington wants to help, start by consolidating citizen services under a small number of verified domains with, you got to have standardized text formats and clear sender IDs that are easy to spot and easy to verify. Right now, our own government creates the chaos that these criminal organizations are able to take advantage of. And I know you see that. Everyone sees that. It's clear and obvious, and I don't know how this has not already been addressed by the government. God, they are just so inefficient. So yeah, you should educate yourself on how to avoid these scams. But this isn't fully on you. DHS says these networks stole more than $1 billion in 3 years and explained how they did it. SIM farms, phishing kits, overseas wallets, domestic runners. Great. Now initiate a full-scale national cleanup. More seizures of SIM equipment. Faster blocks on malicious text patterns. Work with foreign governments to get rid of these organizations. And create clear standards so government messages are easy for us to authenticate. So at this point, y'all are just playing games with us. I really just want to believe our government is more intelligent and more capable than these criminal organizations. So hopefully they start proving that they are.